What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Well, the market did it again. It sold off all the big tech names. Semiconductors took a giant walloping. And so did the Russell 2000. Everything sold off except for healthcare and utilities today, just about. So we're going to get into all that and see how we can navigate the volatility that is going to be this quarter. I have a few strategies that I think that you will find helpful. Before we do, disclaimer, trading is risky. The content in this video is not financial advice and is entertainment purposes only. But I hope that you get some value out of this video. You'll learn something. And if you do, if you could smash that like button, it helps the algorithm. All right, now let's take a look at the indexes real quick. Dow down 1.21%, NASDAQ down 2.3%. S&P 1.37%, and the Russell down a whopping 3.25%. There has been a tale of two markets going on, if you haven't noticed. It's large cap growth versus small cap, and right now they're both losing. And the Russell took the biggest beating right now. So obviously we had a huge day yesterday to close the month. And we have a really rough day to start the month, but it's not something that I would necessarily worry about, and I will tell you why. So you will notice I have a monthly chart here, no indicators, nothing. Let's just take a look strictly at the candlesticks. Now, this candlestick right here is not formed yet. So don't even worry about this month yet. Let's just take a look at all of the other candlesticks. Now you'll notice that almost all of the candlesticks have an upper wick and a lower wick. Very rarely do you get a candlestick like this where there's just straight buying all the way through. Let's get these a little bit bigger here. So, you know, 9 out of 10 of these green candlesticks have a lower wick of some sort. You've got a couple outliers. You know, this one was a small one, but this one came after reds. So you'll see lower wick, lower wick, lower, 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 lower wicks. All these green candles, almost all of these green candles have a lower wick. And if this month is green, this will have a lower wick as well. This whole area will be a wick, if we're lucky. A key area to watch, though, is this 537 area. If the month closes down there and it looks like it's going to close, we'll have like a reversal candle, and then we're going to have a real problem, like a real problem. But as of right now, I'm not too worried, because many of these green candles have a lower wick. And so we're starting the month out a little weak, but we may just be retesting some key levels. And if we get more granular, I'll show you exactly what I am looking at. So if I go to a daily, and actually let's go to an hourly to get really in there. Let's get these larger. Okay, do you see this? Higher lows, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and basically a quadruple bottom here. So if I do this, you can see our descending triangle that we formed since July 17th. And yesterday we popped straight out of it, came down to retest it, and at the very end of the day, closed over it. So this level right here, 537, if you see strong price action moving down off that level, we're in big trouble, because this will have broken and we're going to go down to another level. However, the way it's looking right now, I see this level like we've confirmed support 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 4 times. So I'm not selling, and I'm not too worried. And I know that the market's been giving us whiplash but I'm not selling my positions because as of right now, I see support holding. I actually added some new money into one of my accounts today, right around here, because of all the support. So we're gonna go to the daily now. Obviously, you know, it's not looking beautiful, but yeah, I mean, you can see strong price rejection off of this level. And we actually closed, look at that today, we closed above this descending triangle. This is a bullish indicator. In my eyes, this was a healthy retest so that we can get it out of the way and get on with our lives. And to break the all-time highs, we'd have to get into the arc. And that's always a difficult thing to do. But, so it may take us some time to get through, but the cloud has held up multiple times. See this cloud? So the health of the market is intact. I know that we're closing under like Kijinsen and Tenkan-sen. The Ichimoku's a little twisted right now, but this is a good thing. So if you're freaking out about the stock market, stop. It's not time to freak out yet. Breaking through this cloud is going to be the thing that sends us deeper. But the signs are not there yet, and actually the signs are going away because we popped out. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the point, but hopefully that, you know, helped your anxiety about the markets. Now let's take a look at the Qs and see if we see a similar thing. Price rejections. We didn't even hit this trend line yet. Didn't even need to. So you could see more there. You could see more out of the Qs coming down. I'm looking at Amazon's price after hours. It's not looking too hot, down to 172.5. I already have a full position, but if I didn't, I'd be buying at these levels because in a couple quarters, it'll pay off. Some of these big tech names, I mean, they're going to come back to life, and when they do, it's going to crush. Now, my prediction is if this holds, we'll come right back up to the GAN level, 485, and try to break over it. And if we're able to do so, the next level up, 545. Looking at a monthly on this thing, so once again, we have not broken under here. And I do want to show you this as well. Let's take a look at the Heikinaschis. Last month was a green Heikinashi candle with no lower wick. Can you believe that? Despite all of the nastiness in the market, we're still in an uptrend. And this candle, despite the sell-off today, is still green as it stands, which is huge. Now, 448. Let's see if there's any confluence with the cloud. 448. 449. So below, once you get below 450, things start getting weird with the Qs, because then on the monthly, you will have pierced the bottom of this. And when one of these candles on the Heikinashi pierces, that indicates a reversal is coming, essentially. But most times you'll see this candle got really close, but it never really got under, and we had a recovery. But once you have a candle that comes under, you have more to come before it works itself off. So these are Heikinashi candles, super helpful at, you know, identifying if we're in trouble or not, or if a move is over or not. But the Qs are, believe it or not, they're still in a bullish pattern. They're definitely weakening, but all hope is not lost. It's not time to sell all your stocks and walk away. The Russell had a really rough one today, and despite it, we're still this super crazy candle here. We're still holding the GAN, and let's go to a daily. Now, we had ugly candle today, no doubt about it. However, price rejected once again at 215. And so we had a retest of all this whole range. We closed under Tenkan-sen. Usually I would reduce my position once that happens. However, we closed so far away from it. What am I going to do? Reduce it and then like pick it back up when it gets closer? It's already so close to Kijun-sen. So my plan, I'll tell you how I'm weathering this storm. I had a big cash position a couple weeks ago, and I've been DCAing into the small caps and the equal weighted S&P because they were stronger. Today, the small caps were not stronger. However, this volatility swings in both ways. And the RSP, which is the equal weighted S&P 500, has been a great way for me to maintain exposure to the stock market while also preserving my capital during all of this volatility. And over the next week, as I see opportunities arise, I will be DCAing out of my equal weight into probably, I already have a full small cap position, so I'll probably be going back into the NASDAQ, buying into this dip, especially if these levels seem to be holding. So yeah, like that's kind of my plan. It's been a way to protect my capital while maintaining exposure to the stock market in case I'm wrong that it won't go down more. And let's just take a look at the RSP. So the RSP did close under Tenkan-sen today, so that is not good. Yeah, that's not good. But go to Heikin-Ashi candles, right? So this is a bad sign for the overall market. But like I said, I'm not selling. The monthly candles are intact. There is a line that we're holding. So let's take a look at some of the big movers today. But before I do, I know that this is about the time that most of you guys turn the channel off based on the analytics. So if you're still with me, maybe you actually like my content, consider giving me a subscribe. I appreciate it. I don't have 100 subscribers yet, and I am trying to grow this little YouTube channel. Okay, let's look at NVIDIA, because that's probably the most interesting. I do have Heikin-Ashi candles. Oh, I did have Heikin-Ashi. Notice we're still green. We're still green. We pierced this candle, but we still have a green Heikin-Ashi candle. And if I go to, let's look at the monthly candles today because they closed yesterday. All right, so we're still holding the GAN, and we have price rejection off of it. So I'm not too worried about dropping below, 100, 105. I know we've done it in the after hours before, but I would be shocked. Also, a lot of these big tech companies like Microsoft and Meta are talking about how much they're spending on chips and AI, and that's all great news for NVIDIA. That tells me that their next earnings it's going to rocket out of the park again. So I'm holding my NVIDIA. Microsoft holding up above the monthly Tenkan-sen still. Falling below the GAN level, I don't love that, but we do seem to have some support at the moment, and we're holding over this GAN angle pretty nicely. Looking at the daily, we're holding, we're flat basically. Microsoft's flat. Microsoft and Google, let's switch to Google. Google was green today, and still holding this GAN angle. So Google is one of those names that I feel like is maybe the safest in big tech. Still very tempted to pick up some shares in Google, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Not a fan of the company, but things could change. Things could change, but it seems to be a pretty safe holding at the moment because it has, the cloud right here. It's got this angle that it basically confirmed for 4 days. And it's floated further away from this 170 GAN level. And so we could see this thing, you know, kind of hold as everything comes down. Maybe a retest of this one more time before moving higher, but I like what I'm seeing out of Google. It's holding up really strongly for what's been happening to the overall market. Of course, it took its hit already. Tesla had a rough one today, but finding support at the top of the arc once again at 216. Once again closing below Kijinsen, and once again falling below the years-long downtrend line that sits right around 225. I've shown that in previous videos. If you haven't seen it, feel free to check out one of those videos, but 225 is really kind of the key battleground area that, you know, is going to make or break whether this thing is in an upward momentum or a downward momentum. I'd like to see, personally, I'd like to see the consistent price action above 225 with a healthy Ichimoku. That would tell me, okay, downtrend line is broken and the coast is clear for this thing to eventually have one of its crazy moves. And that could coincide with it getting over the scan level at 244. So consistent price action, pushing higher, that's what I'm looking for. But for now, this is a no for me. Meta had crazy stuff going on. Closing within the arc again, but finding support at the Tenkan-sen and the top of the cloud. I also want to show you, oh look, Amazon's recovering maybe. Let me just quick look at Apple. Apple's doing well, kind of. Is it? Yeah, it is. Glad I held these through earnings. Awesome. Meta. Want to show you something here. Let's go to a daily. Gonna zoom in. I know I got a ton of lines. Close your eyes for a second. Okay, you can open them. We rejected off the top of this fib fan. We did close below this fib fan and this GAN and this GAN. Not good. But we did find support at the top of the cloud in Kijinsen. So 493, 492, that looks like pretty much the bottom of this thing. And I would suspect that, especially if Amazon and Apple can hold up, we might see a better rally tomorrow or something that gets us back into this 500 area. So Meta had great earnings. Obviously it popped. It's a red candle, but it's up, you know, 4.8% today. Also notice the MACD is starting to curl over. So I feel like, you know, it's if you feel like, oh man, I missed this giant Meta move, you could maybe, you know, this isn't a terrible entry. It worked itself off. And you know, going forward, I suspect that this will be one of the stronger of the Mag 7 because Wall Street liked its earnings. Speaking of the Mag 7, we still have to look at Apple. Apple closed today below the GAN angle. It rejected yesterday and today. It opened up above it, but found support down here, you know, at 216. And let's see where that GAN angle is at. So that GAN angle sits at about 223. So we would want to see Apple's earnings at the end of earnings to get back up there. 223 is what we want. And it looks like it's trying. The candle's green, and man, speaking of whiplash, man, after these earnings, isn't it crazy the moves that you see? Like someone was able to scoop them up at 214 and now they're already at 220. So hopefully the call goes well. If it does, we could see this thing get back above that GAN angle, and that would be critical. Speaking of companies that had a strong one today, Eli Lilly popped back into the cloud, closed above Kijinsen. So to my eyes, this tells me that this name wants to get back above the 850 level. So we'll be watching that closely. It's going to have some, you know, the upper cloud to contend with. So it might get up here and you might see it chop a little bit. but it looks like it wants, and it also looks like it wants to be inside of this fib channel here. If I take this and I extend left, here it is. So, okay, so I mean, we are in that channel, but you know, if we could work our way back up to this one, that'd be wonderful, of course. But yeah, that 850 level is going to be very critical for Eli Lilly. So if you see consistent price action, check that out. Speaking of consistent price action, Spotify had some really consistent price action. I bought one more share when it blew past 345 this morning. And then it gave it all up and then some. So 345 sits right here. I saw that it was pumping, so I bought my extra share, went all the way up here, and then gave it all back up. Isn't that something, man? That is something. So, you know, it went for the ARC. And I think, you know what it was? I think the overall market was against it, is what happened. The overall market, the Qs was like, no, tech selling today. And so it pushed it back down. There's nothing wrong with this name. Had a great earnings. Spotify is one of those apps that like all of my friends have. I was a DJ for a little while. And when I was producing music and releasing music, I wanted to use SoundCloud because it was free and it did all the same things, but you couldn't do it. Like the industry standard is Spotify in the music industry. You have to release on Spotify. And so that's what tells me Spotify is not going anywhere. I know there's Prime Music and Apple Music, but Spotify is like the standard within at least the electronic music category. And so you know, like Prime Music and Apple, that was like the last thing a starting artist would release on. Like you got to at least start on Spotify because that's where everyone is. So considering that this thing has way more runway, in my opinion, I actually think Spotify has a chance to outperform names like Microsoft and maybe even Apple's stock price because it could be growing so much. So I love Spotify. It takes up about 2% of my portfolio, and I'm holding. Lockheed Martin, I want to show you this. Industrials had a strong day today. Let me put on a daily here so you can see just the escape velocity that this thing is on. So do I think this thing just keeps going up to the arc? Probably not. This name, I wouldn't go chasing it just yet. We could see a retracement back to retest one of these two levels that it just blew past. Almost certainly it will one day get there again. But very bullish day. Especially with the geopolitical events going on, this thing could rocket much higher. And actually, really quick, I'm going to do some fib levels to determine maybe a price target where I could sell my shares and then maybe wait for some kind of retracement. Let's do that right now. Okay, so I just did the fib levels. It looks like we are real close, like real close. So I'm going to be watching this 552 level very closely, 550. I suspect we might run out a little bit of steam, come down to retest, and then maybe push through it once again. And I might just hold through this whole move, to be honest, because I like to have some industrials exposure going into the next quarter, especially aerospace, especially defense, with what's going on in the Middle East. But yeah, this is the level, 553. If you see consistent price action after that, man, we could be really flying up to like the next GAN level or something, or into the ARC. At that point, I think I would, like, if it happens in this quarter, I would probably have to sell my shares and find something else, because, you know, who catches a move like that? Like, it has to retrace a little bit. But Lockheed Martin, excellent name at the moment. I want to take a look at SOFI. Actually, I'm going to do a separate video on SOFI. SOFI there's some like reindeer games being played with it, I think, and I'm holding my shares even though it fell out of the ARC today. I'm going to keep this one short, so you know, you can watch some other videos from other creators or something, give you some time, so you're welcome for that. But as a thank you to me, if you could hit that like button, comment below what you think of the market, what you think is what August is going to look like. Do you think it's going to be green or red? Tell me in the comments below. Do you think August will be green or red? And if you're not a subscriber yet, there's a little icon showing up in the video right now. I'd appreciate it so much if you joined my channel. And with that being said, I'll catch you on the next video. Risky Ryan out.